And welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. This is the Sacramento Report, and I'm Steve Swat. My guest in the segment is Senator Mimi Walters from Laguna Hills. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
And I guess congratulations are in order. One of your big pieces of legislation over the last few weeks has made it through the legislature unscathed.
Yes.
And it deals with a subject that a lot of us probably don't think too much about, but it is an issue, and that is parental abduction of children during custody disputes or divorce proceedings. And I guess it's probably more prevalent than we think.
Yeah, it is. In fact, we've had almost 2,500 abductions nationwide in 2011, and it's becoming more and more of a problem.
I know this is sort of close to home for you. It involves one of your constituents, and the child's name was Case.
That's correct.
Case K, and he was abducted. Tell us a little bit about that.
Randy Collins, who's one of my constituents, contacted my office. His son in 2008 was abducted by his ex-wife, taken to Japan, and he has not seen his son in 4 years. And he wanted to make sure that the laws were strengthened to prevent abductions. And so he asked me if I would carry legislation to help him. And
so how did you decide that the best way to do this, or at least the most efficient way or possible way, is to tighten up the ability to get a passport for the child?
We worked very closely with Randy, who's been championing these causes since his son was abducted. And what the bill does is it says that if a child is going to leave the country and needs a passport, then both parents have to give the authorization for that to happen. And it also says that if a parent does take off with a child to a foreign country, that parent's assets are frozen.
I do wonder if there's some potential unintended consequences, because there could be a situation where you have one parent and the child, and they really fear for the child's safety during a very difficult, obviously acrimonious divorce proceeding. And so that parent with the child wants to maybe take the child away for his or her protection,
right.
But it certainly doesn't want to get permission from the other parent to get a passport.
You know, each case is different, and it's my hope, and I would imagine that the courts deal with those issues when they're looking at custody battles, and no piece of legislation is perfect, but what we need to do is we need to try to prevent these abductions as much as possible.
Yeah, and you mentioned no piece of legislation is perfect. As a matter of fact, 10 years ago there was legislation designed to do what your new bill is doing, hopefully.
Right.
And some things fell through the cracks. There were some loopholes.
That's correct. So we're trying to close those loopholes, and we're trying to strengthen the law.
Do you have evidence, or at least some discussion from law enforcement, that by freezing one's assets that would be an effective deterrent?
Yes, it is an effective deterrent, and we're trying to look at ways to make sure that this doesn't happen. Whatever we can do to deter it is what we're hoping to do.
I would think that if parents understand during divorce proceedings, which may be, again, acrimonious, that assets would be frozen, that would in fact probably be a good deterrent.
Absolutely. You know, I'm a mom of 4 children, and they're all teenagers now, but I remember when they were little, my biggest fear is that somebody would take one of my children, and I can only imagine what Randy and others have gone through when their childs have been taken from them. I mean, as I mentioned, Randy hasn't seen his son in 4 years, and he's devastated.
I can imagine. Well, congratulations on getting the bill passed, and thank you very much for coming in here and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers for watching a Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this interview and others on My Government On Demand, also on YouTube. I'm Steve Swat. Have a great day.